So, have you ever heard that phrase, aging gracefully? Well, I personally think that aging gracefully is a virtue. And I can tell you one place where age really does matter: your website. After just a few years, even the most cutting edge, beautiful, well designed website can start to look a little dated, and even worse, it doesn't function properly anymore. In fact, many websites look like they've gone without any updates for years and years. Oh my gosh, maybe decades. And although, to be 100% honest, there are far fewer websites like that than there used to be, I've noticed over the past few months that with COVID-19, so many businesses have pivoted their presence to online. And it's only natural that when your physical storefront is closed down in a shutdown, that you want to update your website. I mean, companies have been spending time and money to update, upgrade, and completely redesign their websites. And the result has been some really great, well designed sites that drive a ton of new traffic to their business. And personally, I think it's the perfect time to do rebranding and redesign your website. I mean, if I didn't update my own all the time, then I would be doing the same. But I've been auditing, redesigning, and rewriting copy for a ton of websites this year. And if you want to expand your online presence and safeguard your business in the event of another shutdown, then doing a redesign is an absolute must. So then the question comes, do you want to do it yourself? Well, there's drag and drop website building sites now like Wix or Weebly, and they really promise that you can save money by building your own website. And they use drag and drop interfaces and web page templates to make website building easy. But the problem is that building a website isn't easy. And at a glance, doing a website redesign using a DIY option might seem like a good idea. It might seem really affordable, but that cost can catch up with you. When you're confronted with, two different companies' websites, the chances are that a potential customer will go with a more engaging, attractive, and functional one. In other words, they will likely choose the website that was not built using an overused template. Customers are savvy, and they not only love a great user experience, but they also love a website that's beautifully designed with story-driven copy. And on top of that, if you have no experience building a website, then you may not know how all the pieces fit together. And you may not know which pages should be text heavy and which ones should be graphically intensive. And there's a lot of third-party services that will need to be integrated with the website, everything from email marketing and social media to podcast players. The list goes on and on. And these are all things that really you learn through extensive study and experience. And so I'm not slamming the services themselves. Website platforms like Squarespace, they do offer a user-friendly website building tool that, can help you create a functional website, no question. But there's a secret. The incredibly polished websites that are built using a DIY website tool, they most often are made by a professional. And yes, those professionals, they could be using a DIY website service tool, but they know how to use them at a very advanced level. An experienced virtual assistant could take the tools provided by WordPress or Squarespace and create a website that no one would ever believe was used doing a DIY tool. And of course, we do whatever our clients want. We make recommendations, of course. I really love WordPress. So, I usually build most of the websites that I build on WordPress, but we do have clients that, want to use Squarespace, or clients that are already on Squarespace, Weebly, Wix, WordPress, whatever it is. And, if they want to stay there and they're happy with it, then we can redesign it there. So there are a lot of options. So where do you start when it comes to a redesign? Well, first off, you want to ask yourself, how long has it been since you've navigated your own website, right? That's kind of a crazy thing to think, but I think a lot of us, we just don't think about it. I think most people, when they have a website built, they probably go through everything once the site is complete, but then they rarely do it again. But taking that quick tour is one of the most essential ways of really seeing what your online customers experience. And you want to make sure that they are having a fantastic experience when they land on your website. And doing so is called a website audit. So you really want to start with your homepage. You want to click around the site, check out the pages to see if they flow into each other logically. You don't really want to dive really deep in and analyze everything. You just want to try to have a really general idea of what the user experience is. And then after you've finished, you'll have a sense of just how much needs to be changed or refreshed. So if your website were a body, your homepage would be the face. So your homepage is the first thing that people see when they click through from Google or for somewhere else and land on your website. And if it doesn't make an immediate good impression, then you're dead in the water. Your homepage really should do a few things right off the bat. So, people should be able to see really quickly, who you are, what's the name of your business, what's your logo, right? But you want to also tell viewers not only who you are, but what you do and how that benefits them. But you need to do it quickly. You also want to share your unique selling proposition and offer them a lead magnet to get them onto your email list, to start them into your nurture sequence. But of course, you really want to provide that one call to action above the fold that you really want them to take. So once I start a website redesign, it really starts with the branding and the logo design. If you don't have an attractive and engaging logo for your company, that's prominently positioned at the top of your website, then you're already kind of falling behind. An appealing logo needs to do more than just tell people the name of your business. It needs to communicate your entire brand through colors, design, graphics. And your logo should, again, always be prominently positioned at the top of every page of your site. And not having a compelling and professionally designed logo, it's a common mistake that I see a lot. I mean, I understand there's a lot of other important things to spend money on, right? But not so fast. Your logo is a visual representation of your business. And if it looks sloppy or poorly designed, then that directly reflects on you, and especially when it comes to your website. And if you're looking to reboot your branding in 2021, or even this year before 2021, then having new branding and a new logo design, it can be a really eye-catching option. And even if you're in love with your current logo, a few years ago, I really loved my logo, but I felt like, it could use a refresh. Then there's no reason why you can't ask a virtual assistant, graphic designer, who's experienced in marketing, that can do even a quick polish on it. Okay, so then once you do all of that, you want to dig into the website navigation. So the nav bar is where the viewer of your website will click to navigate to different areas of your website. And I personally found that simpler is better when it comes to the navigation. You don't want one that's super cluttered or loaded with tons of drop-down menus. And when I start to design a website, I usually like to start with a handful of pages. So an about page, services, blog, testimonials, contact. But then I expand and subtract from there. So depending on the services that you're offering, you could really get an easy idea of, what you need to add. And for a website audit, that navigation bar is my first stop. I want to discover how the website flows. Is it off? I look for places where I think I could simplify the experience by merging redundant copy or repairing links or cutting unnecessary pages or content. The website design is far more about making a visually attractive page. You need to think about how your audience will navigate through it. If there are dead-end links or confusing navigation, out-of-date landing pages, tons of redundant information, or if the information is just not provided in a real personality-infused, story-driven way, then your audience is going to lose interest and go elsewhere. So in newspapers, there's a concept called above the fold, and you probably heard me say that before, where all of the most important stories for the day are above where the paper folds in half. And that same concept applies to your website. The first visible section of your homepage should really quickly sum up everything that they need to know about you and your business. It needs to include compelling copy, personality infused, really show them your unique selling proposition, but then it needs to have that one call to action that's really going to get them to take action. You don't want to give them a ton of super long copy. It can really get tricky to structure that one-liner in a way that will directly appeal to your audience, but you really need to, so that you can get them to take that one call to action that you need them to take. And again, all of these elements on your website, especially on the homepage, is all about compelling that visitor to take that next step, which is to do your one call to action that you want them to take. So whether that's, it's however you get clients. So if it's you want them to schedule a consultation with you, do you want them to sign up for something so they can get into your nurture sequence? It really needs to be really front and center. Everything on your website, from this color scheme down to the copy, needs to be designed to get your viewer to continue exploring your site, consuming your content, and hopefully taking that call to action that you want and becoming a customer. Without a variety of calls to action throughout your website, your customers and your clients, the prospects, they won't know what you want them to do. You don't want it to be super vague, like click here. It needs to be super targeted, so maybe something more register for a life-changing experience. You get the point. You want it to be super targeted. And other places that you want to put calls to action are within your content. So every product page, every blog post, every piece of content that you put out should have a lead magnet, a call to action inside of it. You always want to be building that email list. So designing a slick and modern website, really it's a moving target. I mean, there's so many new features coming out, new technology on the horizon. You really need to make sure that your website isn't falling behind. A great example is, finding out if your website's mobile optimized. So many people primarily use the internet on their devices. They're on their phone. And if your website isn't optimized to fit correctly on that smaller screen size, while still offering all of your site's full functionality, then you're really missing out on the people who love their mobile device, which is most people. And today, WordPress and other similar services, they usually build this feature into their sites. But if you have an older site, or if for some reason your site just wasn't built mobile optimized, then that's something that's really important for you to take a look at to make sure that yours looks genuinely good on all devices. And if you're going to be redesigning your entire site, then you definitely want to rewrite your web copy. So writing copy for a website, it's a specialized skill. It needs to be effective. It needs to support the different graphic elements that you're using, but it also needs to communicate detailed information about you and your business and your services. So it needs to be punchy and engaging, personality infused, story driven. It needs to have your calls to action, and it needs to stealthily sell in the content, but it also needs to be pretty tight. You don't want people landing on a website that looks more like a college midterm paper. You want them to be able to consume the information quickly, or they're going to be clicking off really fast. And, if you're going to be rewriting your website copy, then it's a fantastic time to consider boosting your SEO. So search engine optimization is how Google decides, and other search engines decide who sees your content. Depending on whether SEO on your website is good or bad, Google will either shoot you up to the top of results or bury you at the bottom, underneath all of your competitors. And, if you think SEO means shoving in keywords, don't do that. I mean, you don't want to do that. I've heard people think before that will fool the search engines, into promoting your site, but that's a solid no. This strategy, it not only results in really awkward, difficult to read copy, but it's now something that, Google has been punishing for quite some time. So you definitely want to avoid keyword stuffing at all costs. You want to sit down, do your keyword research, get that list of keywords, and then organically sprinkle them in and do the SEO throughout the entire website. So let's review what we've learned today. So now really is the perfect time to consider redesigning your website. And when you decide to do so, you always want to start with a website audit. You want to audit the website before making any significant changes to the site. And your homepage is the first thing that people will see when they come to your website. It's the store window or the face of your business. And your logo, of course, should be amazing, and it should be on every page, and it should communicate your brand at a glance. Your navigation bar needs to be uncluttered and logical, so think user experience here. And keep the most important information about your business above the fold, along with that call to action. And then, of course, have calls to action and different ways to grow your email list through opt-ins built in throughout the website. And of course, make sure your website supports the latest functionality. If it isn't mobile friendly, you need to update that ASAP. And of course, web copy. Web copy needs to be short, engaging, personality infused, story driven, and optimized for search engines. So doing a website audit and redesign, it's really one of my favorite parts of my business. I love helping people learn which sections of their website is working really well and which parts need to be revamped. So if you need help or you want to learn more about how to do your own website audit, I suggest starting with my free download. I have an ultimate step-by-step website audit workbook. It will get you rolling in the right direction, because rebuilding a website is not something that can be done in your spare time. If other things are on your plate, a redesign can move to the back burner in a hurry. And that's the one reason why I highly suggest hiring a professional who can help get your redesign, off without a hitch. So if you'd like to chat about it, I'm always here. You can reach out to me. Don't forget to grab the website audit workbook. You can grab that at jennylyon.com/website audit. And if you'd like to chat about any part of your website redesign, possible redesign, audit questions, anything, please reach out. You can schedule a free consultation at jennylyon.com/free-consultation. Well, I hope you found all of this information about redesigning your website helpful. Now is the perfect time to dig into it. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great week.